All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Marta. I'm a junior and I'm a sociology and economics major. Everyone else will be introducing themselves before they start on their first slides. But just to give you a little intro, our group worked with Sustainable Connecticut. We kind of have a different situation from, I think, a lot of the other groups because we came in at a time when they weren't really working on a project yet. So a lot of our work up until like last week was more of like devising a plan for what the project that we were going to work on would be, and then figuring out kind of a little bit of the logistics of that, and then creating a kind of an outline of a grant narrative and budget. So here we go. First slide.
Hi, I'm Hattie. I'm a senior and an environmental studies major. So to go through a little bit of background on Sustainable CT, Sustainable CT is a statewide nonprofit organization that provides grant funding to help towns, counties, and individuals promote economic well-being and equity without disrupting environmental stewardship. They believe in the power of changing sustainability at a local level through local governments, nonprofits, state agencies, businesses, and communities. So each town in Connecticut is a part of this program. And once becoming a part of the program, towns begin to work on action plans that, when completed, each receive a certain amount of points. Once achieving a certain amount of points, the towns can apply for and be awarded a bronze or silver certification. New London was certified in 2019. So basically, we're working with Sustainable CT of New London, which is a sub-organization of Sustainable CT.
Hey everyone, Anthony Mancini jumping in here. Just beginning with some successful programs done in the past that we looked at in kind of developing a foundation for our research and developing our ultimate project was last year when the town of Vernon, Connecticut achieved the 3.4 action, as Hattie just touched on in the previous slide, providing an arts and culture program for youth. And what they did was they, in collaboration with the Vernon Public Schools, highlighted diverse individuals and cultures in the greater community through various mediums of art, such as painting, drawing. I believe there was a creative writing technique workshop station or something of that nature. And these were incorporated into the elementary school levels all the way up through the high school levels. And again, the overall goal of all this was for the town of Vernon, Connecticut to kind of use the expression of art to inspire a greater appreciation for and build a sense of community in the town. And though this isn't really a direct connection to anything environmentally themed or sustainability themed, this gave us a really good starting point on a successful program in the past year that successfully achieved the mission that we were trying to achieve. And it gave us a good starting point with things to think about in terms of materials and financials and things like that. And with that, I'll move it to the next slide, and Sam's going to talk about another program that's a little bit more environmentally focused.
All right. I'm Sam Kuda. I'm a sophomore. My major is environmental studies and my minor is economics. So I want to talk about another similar successful example program that occurred in my community, which is called the Storm Drain Arts and Advocacy. This program took place in Holyoke, Massachusetts, which is similar to New London, unfortunately, as it is economically distressed city. So according to Metro US, 31.5% of the Holyoke population is living below poverty rate. So community partners, Enchanted Circle Theater of Holyoke, teamed up with the Hitchcock Center for the Environment out of Amherst, Massachusetts, to implement the Storm Drain Arts and Advocacy Program. fifth grade teachers in the Holyoke Public Schools were trained on stormwater education, and students themselves designed storm drain art pieces to share their knowledge and concerns about the Connecticut River watershed. Local artists in the community then took these students' designs and painted storm drains across Holyoke. As you can see in the bottom right, there's a few examples of those the art. This storm drain arts and advocacy not only taught fifth graders the importance of improving local water quality, but also aimed for the children to educate their parents and families on the topic as well. So Enchantment Circle Theater, in partnership with the Hitchcock Center for the Environment, received the Mass Commonwealth Award, which is the highest honor in arts, science, and humanities in Massachusetts. And they received this in the category of STEM to STEAM for collaborating to deepen students' understandings of science, the arts, and the arts in the Holyoke Public Schools. They also received the New England Stormy Award, which is given for stormwater education, and also received the Municipality Vulnerabilities Preparedness, which is a Massachusetts state grant that funds programs aimed to building resilience to climate change.
My name is Olivia. I'm a sophomore and my major is environmental studies. So as Marta touched on in our intro, we had the unique opportunity of being able to be a part of the brainstorming process of developing a project with sustainable CT. So during this brainstorming process, there were certain obstacles and limitations to consider. So that includes COVID. So schools are currently closed and in-person gatherings aren't an option. We also didn't want to have our program take place during class time because that creates extra work for the teachers who are already extremely busy. And then field trips are also not an option due to COVID, but also because they can be cost prohibitive to the school and students due to the need for transportation and chaperones. And we needed to consider that not every student has access to the same resources. So with these limitations in mind, we just decided our goal is to have a program that combines art and the environment that is accessible to all students regardless of financial status. And we came up with some ideas that fit in with remote program and in-person programs like after-school programs, summer programs, or pre-made kits that can be delivered to homes with access to recorded components. And another idea we were playing around with was including other organizations and local artists who may have been financially impacted by COVID to help with the instruction portion of this. So the project concept that we came up with to pursue is called the Art of Sustainability, which is a broad project title that can include several future programs, which all would tie in art and the environment education for elementary students in New London. So the first hypothetical program under this project name that we planned out is aimed at students grades 3 through 5, and it's to create bug hotels. So bug hotels are a great project because they're hands-on. It can be as creative as the kids want it to be, and it provides education on pollinators and recycling. So the funding we're asking for will go towards non-recycled materials that we may need and ensuring that any student who wants to is able to participate for free.
And so our next step in the process was to target a grant and write the grant. And we believe the Urban Act grant program was the best fit for our narrative and in developing our project. And really it was easy for us to find because it was suggested right on Sustainable Connecticut's website. But just to give a quick recap of what it covers, it's funded by state general obligation bonds as opposed to state appropriations, and the authorization of funding can range from thousands to millions of dollars. So that was really the thing that we loved most about the Urban Act program, was that it casted a wide net for us and was open to a really wide range of funding. And since that was kind of up in the air for us at the moment, we just thought that this was going to give us the best chance to succeed. And then just to, per the website, just to go over how it's described on the website, through collaboration between community partners and the municipality, it plans and implements new arts and culture programs for youth. So it's exactly what we were looking for in developing our project. And then I'll pass it to Ren to just really quick go over the requirements of it.
Hi, I'm Randy Bartholomew. I'm a first year and I'm currently undeclared. As Anthony mentioned, I'm going to touch on the program requirements. So as far as the requirements and eligibility, the Urban Act Grant Program is open to communities that have been designated as economically distressed, where funds will be used to improve the quality of life for residents while promoting community conservation and expanding activities. Some of the eligible projects for the grant program include recreation development, economic and community development, and social services related projects. On the Sustainable Connecticut website, Action 3.4, which is providing a youth arts and culture program, has been approved to apply for this grant program. And as Anthony touched on, there's no standard amount of financial assistance to request provided. It's up to the applicant to determine.
So New London as a city has certainly demonstrated a need for a program like this in their community. New London was ranked #1 by the Office of Legislative Research for the state of Connecticut in 2018 for economic distress. And then Niche, a company that provides ranking and review for education all throughout the United States. The New London elementary schools have received a grade C on this website and mentions that almost 85% of the students qualify for free or reduced lunches. And through our research, the successful programs that Anthony and Sam talked about, we found evidence that pairing environmental education with the arts can be beneficial for children in a variety of ways by stimulating ecological affinity with ecological awareness, while also helping children connect with their environment and ecological systems in stronger ways, highlighting nature with children development.
Yeah, just to go off of what Hattie was talking about in our narrative, we have provided a couple data points about how fostering environmental stewardship in youth is kind of a fabulous investment and a great way to start off a generation that cares about the environment, but in specific about the art-based education aspect. We do have a couple studies in our narrative that talk about the benefits of an art-based versus a traditional activity, particularly in engaging our target age range of 3rd through 5th graders. I'm sure we can all empathize with the fact that an art-based activity kind of connects a child more emotionally to the lesson plans and I think that's all we were going to talk about. So I talked a little bit and kind of made a budget outline. Very roughly, as we've said, it was kind of a loosely based project. So this is a suggestion for a budget for the bug hotels, but we will be handing it off to Sustainable Connecticut again to kind of revise this. But as a preliminary kind of outline, we thought of materials to include in the kits that weren't just going to kind of go against the idea of recycling and reusing. So we thought we would include a couple materials and then include some instructions in like things such as pamphlets or posters that can kind of explain what bug hotels are, and then introduce the students to the concept of recycling and sustainability, and then provide some examples of objects they can find around their home that they can use instead of us providing everything in the kit and then having them just kind of stick it outside and eventually throw it away. Some of those materials would be like pictured on the slide, like an old mug or an old can, or a plastic jug of some sort or toilet paper rolls. So that was kind of the aspect of sustainability that we tried to incorporate into what Sustainable Connecticut wanted to do in terms of the youth arts program. In terms of the actual budget, we found an estimated number of the amount of third through fifth graders in New London public elementary schools, and it came out to about 902 students. And then we just came up with a rough example of what it would cost per kit, and we came up with 554. As a hypothetical list of materials to include in the kit, we just thought of maybe some popsicle sticks, 11 by 17 sheet of cardboard, some twine, and then to incorporate a little bit more of the art aspect, we added a watercolor set. And it actually, we found in our budget, we have links for where to buy these in bulk, but it actually came out to be pretty cheap. For example, just 5 cents per kit for popsicle sticks. So when we found that initial amount of 554 per kit, we were a little worried, but we think it'll work out pretty well. And there's a pretty good outline there for Sustainable Connecticut to run with afterwards.
So as far as the application progress, what we have completed is listed below in green, what is to be completed in red, and what does not apply to our program or community partner in gray. So far, we have completed the form of organization, the nature of organization, the organization's history / purpose, prior financing, assistance requested, and public disclosure. And, another completion worth noting is that we came into a project that had a rough outline of the arts and culture program for the youth. And we've collectively helped Sustainable Connecticut develop a proper project to apply for the Urban Act grant program.
As Ren said, you can see in red, there are only a few aspects of the application that still need to be completed. And these consist of the required documents, the conventional financing, and finally, the collateral for DECD state financial assistance.
All right, so just to kind of wrap up here and moving forward, as we've kind of reiterated, since we did come in and kind of spend a good amount of our time thinking of a project and kind of the logistics of how it would work and what to include in it, we don't have a totally finalized narrative or budget, so we're handing that off to Sustainable Connecticut to kind of finalize on their own. And then kind of a unique aspect with Sustainable Connecticut is that the whole process of completing these actions and becoming certified, there's a couple steps that the parent organization of Sustainable Connecticut requires. So examples of this would be like providing documentation of an inventory of already established youth arts programs in the area, and then kind of conducting a sort of roundtable with community leaders and seeing what everyone has to say in the municipality. So that's kind of what we're talking about when we say speak with community and like the New London Public Schools to see what's possible. So kind of just in general solidifying the project, but we do have a pretty well fleshed out narrative and budget for them to go off of. All right, and that is the end of our presentation. We'd like to just finish by thanking Karen and Mary Jo. They were our two partners with Sustainable Connecticut for this project, and we all kind of came in and were kind of it was kind of an open-ended question at the beginning. We all kind of weren't sure which direction to go, and they really helped us, pare it down and think of come up with actionable tasks to achieve, and we really appreciated that. So thank you to Sustainable Connecticut one more time.
Well, excellent job, Sustainable Connecticut student group. Let's give them a round of applause. Good job, everyone. Again, it's so interesting to see how each of the organizations and the student teams that meet them are starting at a different place. And you guys emphasized in the presentation that like the starting line for you guys was way more hazy than potentially for other groups, and you guys did a really good job of taking something that was to some extent a bit undefined and defining it in such a brilliant way, looking at those bug hotel possibilities and thinking about students across the city creating them. That's super exciting. And I think that you guys deserve a huge amount of credit for that. Okay, so we are going to open it up to Q&A now. You can ask questions to the group, and I'm sure they'd be very happy to answer. Also, if you just want to fill it out in the Google form, I'll post that again. Q&A. One question that I had and that I thought was really cool in hearing the presentation and the way it unfolded is hearing about the projects that existed in Vernon and Holyoke. How did you guys go about learning about those projects? It seems like they align so well to what you're trying to do now.
Yeah, so I can take the first part of that. I'm not sure if I just cut somebody off there, but real quick, the Vernon activity was an example that was provided right on Sustainable Connecticut's website, and it was right there, easy for us to take there. And there was a bunch of really good like supporting documents on, as I said, like the different types of materials and the financials of things, and even like recorded minutes of meetings that that took place between town hall and the public school system. So it literally showed us right within Sustainable Connecticut's site the kind of like the train of thought that went into this whole program. And it was really just up to us to come together and think of how we could like intertwine some sustainability themes into it. Yeah, it was pretty easy.
I really did. I'm
sorry.
sorry. Go ahead.
I'll just say quickly that because I went over the Holyoke program, and I actually heard about that in my community, and I just thought that would line up pretty perfectly with this. And when I first found out about it, I just knew very little about it, but I was actually able to reach out on their website to their main contact, and she was able to give me some more information, and it fit very similarly to the program that we had. So that's kind of how I went about with that one.
I really liked your presentation and all the help you gave us on getting these projects together, especially coming up with the budget on possible budget for it, and the other successful programs that have been done for the community. The Holyoke one, really a good project, as well as the stormwater drainage. I also enjoyed that. Really find a lot of success for that program, which is the same thing as the Holyoke one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. I did like that. I liked how that tied together the science of the program with art. It's really good. Thank you so much for all the work you did on this program. It was really incredible. And for not giving up and keep going. You did a great job.
I'd like to second what Mary Jo said. Thank you guys. You guys are, oh, sorry, Linus is here too. You guys were awesome and a really big help to a project that was really not hashed out at all when we first met. So bravo and thank you for all of your help.